Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television Live. Of course, it is Tuesday, September 13th, 2016. Thank you again for your tremendous support, supporting us, subscribing on demand for the price of a cup of coffee, $4.95 a month, $49.95 a year. You're truly making a difference, supporting me and crew and helping us to continue to fight this war against criminal establishment media. That again, Facebook fails to shine light on the truth about Hillary's health. And again, you, my friends, folks, have only been vindicated. Now, breaking. Top doctors now think that Hillary has Parkinson's disease. I was digesting a lot of this material yesterday, and I heard some top doctors, because again, I'm not a physician, but this is coming from top doctors. I just trust my own two eyes. You understand that, America, right? Just like you do. When I see a woman flailing, having fits on camera, wearing reflective sunglasses, blue lenses, anti-seizure lenses that she mysteriously had on a couple of days ago when they threw her into the back of the bus, so to speak, mafia style, when she dropped the metal piece, which there's been some speculation that the Secret Service put that metal piece in her hand as a audio cue to the agents who are looking for, external threats, pushing out the mainstream media. It's why it had to be a citizen journalist that, caught the footage on camera to cover her ass, and also as an audio cue that if she dropped in her hand the metal piece, this is the speculation that the Secret Service agents would know she's going down. Kind of like Titanic, with Rose and Leonardo DiCaprio are just kind of a sinking ship, which makes up Hillary Clinton's campaign, as Trump is now dominating in the polls. Winning, as Charlie Sheen would say, winning. Donald Trump is winning. Top doctors now think that she has Parkinson's disease, something that we reported on here first, and people called me a crackpot conspiracy theorist. We're waiting to verify this. In fact, we had a very super viral video titled, "Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's Exposed," here at AMTV. You can watch it. We'll put links in the description or cards so you can go to it on the screen when we rebroadcast this. And if you haven't already watched that video, Facebook, please do like it, share it. Just remind people we were on top of this way in advance of the mainstream media, because again, they cover up the truth, the real news, the real alternative media. Now, I was listening to a top doctor yesterday who basically suggested that there's one of two options, and I previewed this on today's show on YouTube, that either Hillary Clinton has a severe neurological disorder and or disease like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or something tragic like that, or, and maybe or, she has some kind of cardiovascular problem. Something very serious has to do with her heart, blood pressure, something with her, related to heart disease and cardiovascular issues, which are the only real explanations for a Hillary Clinton collapsing on multiple occasions, knees, ankles, legs buckling, dropping the metal piece, which was probably an audio cue for the Secret Service members who, did you notice, by the way, didn't even look surprised? They're like, oh yeah, this happens all the time. Let's go grab the bitch. I mean, seriously, they weren't surprised at all. Now, of course, her campaign covered it up, and we discussed this yesterday, calling it pneumonia. Yeah, like she's had pneumonia for several years because it's been going on. She's been having the, excessive cough attacks for a very long time now. But I also heard a physician yesterday talk about the fact that there's no credence to that claim, that bold-faced lie. You see, when Hillary speaks, she's lying. The only time she's not lying is when her mouth is shut. She's probably still lying non-verbally, but anytime she speaks or her campaign speaks, she's lying. So we know it's either a severe neurological disease or disorder, like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, something tragic like that, and or it's some kind of heart condition, because, as the doctor I was listening to, you can't recover from pneumonia and dehydration in like 30, 60 minutes. It just doesn't happen. She came out on the streets like, hi, everybody, a beautiful day in New York City. She probably went to Chelsea's Pit Stop, which has been outfitted and retrofitted more like a hospital. She probably had to be IV'd, and God knows what else they had to do to her. And that's probably where she's going, because it's less than, I think, half a mile from the hospital that she's continuously treated at. Again, the lady's had 3 blood clots, folks. 3! She's had a broken elbow. She's had multiple concussions. Again, it's not funny. Like, I don't wish any harm on anybody. I don't wish, ill health on anybody, but it's kind of like the game Operation. Again, anytime she talks or her, the establishment media speaks or her political operative speaks, they're lying. But it's kind of like the game you probably played as a kid, Operation, right? And there was a printout. I printed it out. We'll have to put this across the screen maybe in post-production, because I don't know if we had it in our storyboard for today's broadcast. But it's like the game Operation. Again, she's had concussions, transverse sinus venous thrombosis. Wow, that's a mouthful. Nose and throat issues, which she first blamed on allergies and a high pollen count and a recurring cough. I mean, disgusting phlegm-ridden coughs. Even at the Benghazi hearings, we got some footage on that we'll play in a bit. Pneumonia, now, even though we know that's a bold-faced bullshit lie, that's the latest issue, pneumonia. She's hugging small children and potentially transferring the deadly disease to a small child who's more than likely to die if they actually get that disease, just like Hillary Clinton is. Very, very serious, deadly disease for elderly people like Hillary Clinton and also small children, which she was hugging right after she was saying it was a beautiful day in America. Thyroid issues, hypothyroidism, another serious condition that probably explains, again, the gaining of weight, the bloating of the face. And this was something I talked about years ago, actually with friends and family, and some of you that, we trade emails with, etc., is that, she's really bloated. She's obviously on some kind of steroid, potentially, some kind of medication to treat the hypothyroidism. Deep vein thrombosis is a part of her leg, suffering from pain from a swollen right foot while campaigning for Senator Charles Schumer in 1998. A White House doctor urges her to rush to Bethesda Naval Hospital, where physicians find and treat a large blood clot behind her right knee. An elbow fracture, where she falls. I think this was in and around the Benghazi hearings, I believe. She falls, breaks her elbow. And double and blurred vision, which we saw with the prism glasses at the Benghazi hearing. I mean, literally every part of Hillary Clinton has a problem. Whether or not it's her brain, it's her nose and throat, it's her lungs, it's her thyroid, it's her legs, it's her elbow, or it's her vision. Not to mention her lying mouth. Again, it's like the game Operation, folks. And we have only been vindicated here at AMTV. You have only been vindicated because none of this is a conspiracy. Yet the mainstream media continues to fail to report the truth. So people are asking the question, well, pneumonia, that doesn't sound right. Oh, and I guess she's been lying to us from the get-go, so why would we trust her now if there's only a continuation of lies? There's first denial to, high pollen count, I'm tired, to I'm overheated, to, actually I've got pneumonia. Now people are like, well, my God, we know she's had a blood clot. We know she's had all these issues. We know she's on medication. And we just saw with our own 2 eyes, but the mainstream media, spins this so that you can't even believe your own instincts. The actual hard evidence and facts where she buckles over in a total collapse format and is thrown into the back of a van, mobster style. You come to me out of respect? I mean, this is what we have. So people are asking now, well, what additionally does she have? Also very interesting, there's an image that I'd like to show you, which shows Clinton grasping fingers of her doctor or potentially her nurse, a woman by the name of Lisa Bardak, who there's several images of her walking with her at the 9/11 commemorative 15-year anniversary, September 11th, 2001 terror attack ceremony where all this went down, where she's holding the fingers of her nurse or her doctor. That's the speculation, which is a classic neurological test. But yeah, it's just pneumonia. That's why they want to test her motor function. You know, basically, if she's got good motor function, Lisa Bardak, her physician or nurse, whoever she is, wouldn't be able to remove her hands. You know, there should be a tight, firm grip. This is how they're kind of testing, you know, any kind of neurological issue that would have to do with the brain. Despite her campaign claiming it was pneumonia that led to her ill health in New York on Sunday, Hillary Clinton was caught on camera receiving a neurological test from someone who appeared to be a nurse. The image shows Hillary grasping the woman's fingers with her fist, which is a classic motor neuron test to determine abnormalities in the nervous system. The NYU School of Medicine details how the test is conducted. Test the patient's grip by having the patient hold the examiner's fingers in their fist tightly and instructing them not to let go while the examiner attempts to remove them. Normally, they say the examiner cannot remove their fingers. This tests the forearm flexors and the intrinsic hand muscles. Compare the hands for strength asymmetry. This is precisely what appears to be taking place in the image above. So why, and this begs the question, would Hillary, the liar that she is, be receiving a motor neuron test if she was only suffering from, you know, common pneumonia, which is also deadly, by the way? Another report from Daily Mail asking the same question. Did Clinton take a doctor to the 9/11 memorial ceremony where she collapsed? I mean, we're getting this even in the quote-unquote mainstream media now. Shows a picture of her walking with the alleged physician or nurse. I mean, there's all these mystery people around her, right? The African-American Secret Service agent, although he looked more like some kind of handler for Hillary, maybe another medical professional, that was the assumption up until I think last week, when there might be some linkages to the fact that he's a Secret Service agent. But there's all these mysterious figures and people around Hillary Clinton as she collapses right in front of our faces, and the mainstream media tries to tell us that we can't trust our own two eyes. In addition to this, the Clinton team avoided the ER, which is where they should have taken to her, a medical facility, but here it is, folks. They did. Chances are, and my guess, is that Chelsea's apartment is retrofitted as a hospital. I actually honestly believe that. I think that there's some truth to that. Clinton team avoided ER to conceal details of her medical treatment. She was headed to an emergency room, they say, following her frightening collapse at the September 11th memorial ceremony, but detoured to daughter Chelsea Clinton's apartment, probably a retrofitted hospital, to keep details, less than half a mile from where she receives all these procedures, to keep details of her medical treatment under wraps, the Post has learned. This is from the New York Post. Secret Service protocol called for the Democratic presidential nominee to be rushed to a state-designated Level 1 trauma center in the wake of her Sunday morning health crisis, sources said. In Manhattan, that would be Bellevue Hospital. But a campaign operative decided to change course to avoid having Clinton seen by doctors, nurses, and other medical workers who could leak details, the specifics of her problems, disease, neurological disorder, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or potentially some kind of cardiovascular issue. Prevent that leak from getting out to the public. Now we have folks really just compiling the evidence we've already compiled here at AMTV. Again, we've had super viral videos talking about Hillary Clinton's alleged Parkinson's disease, and we've exposed that for the entire world to see. Again, I got all the hate mail, but I'm waiting for my apology letter, as many of you are, from the mainstream media, written out by CNN, Fox, MSNBC, that continues to steal really the investigative reporting that we've been doing. Top doctors now speculate, compiling and compounding the suspicion, speculating that Hillary has Parkinson's disease. Scott Johnson of the blog Powerline cites a board-certified internist who suggests the pneumonia is a symptom of something worse, a stroke or possibly Parkinson's. The story about Hillary Clinton being diagnosed with pneumonia raises a red flag as to the cause. calls the fact that she would have a debilitating bug bullshit, referring to pneumonia. An unidentified source told the publication at least half a dozen senior staff were felled, including campaign manager Robbie Mook. 2 top advisors even needed emergency medical treatment. So here's where they're going into, and I'm not sure if you saw this, but I laughed out loud. Total bullshit. Hillary Clinton's campaign and her political operatives are trying to sell the idea now that it's not just Hillary that's had pneumonia and these severe health issues, but it's also like her entire campaign. Totally made up, by the way. A total fabrication. A total bold-faced lie to make it seem like normal. Like it's normal to have, these neurological problems. It's normal to buckle in to a Speedway van and leave early from a 9/11 commemorative ceremony. And so they go on to sell this lie that multiple members of her campaign have been suffering from the same type of symptoms. And one of them, they say, one of the top advisors had to be taken by ambulance to the ER as well, saying that they also collapsed. Talk about a red flag and talk about a total bold-faced lie. Goes on to suggest, top doctor, I raised this second possibility, saying there could be something more worrisome, because of Hillary's history of neurological illnesses, blood clot in the brain, referring to the fact that she might have Parkinson's, concussions, hints raised on the internet in WikiLeaks documents and by others that she may have a neurological disease like Parkinson's, and her by now well-documented history of recurrent coughing fits. The second possibility is that she has an aspiration pneumonia. Now, there was a clip that I wanted to go to, which I believe was from Newsmax. And this was on the Malzberg show, where a prominent Muslim American physician, and again, they had to point it out that it's a Muslim, probably because they just want to discredit him. Like if it's, if it was a Christian doctor, it'd be fine, but because it's Muslim, he must be discredited. Where he speaks very intelligently and specifically says that Hillary didn't pass out from dehydration. Take a look.
The latest claim made today by Clinton's campaign manager just about, a few hours ago, was that not only was she making calls after we saw her collapse and get in that car, she felt immediately better and she was making calls from the car, but when they got to her daughter's house a few minutes later, she was running around chasing her grandchildren. Believable?
Well, I have to tell you, Steve, well, first let me preface this by saying that I was a physician in the Navy, also was a physician to Congress, but I've never examined her, never took care of her, so
right.
There's no confidentiality or doctor-patient relationship here, but obviously as an internist, I do this every day. And pneumonia is a disease that presents not only with cough, but fevers, chills, and other things. If she was passing, what she had was a syncopal episode. She passed out. That's either cardiovascular or neurologic. Now, her team wants us to believe that this is dehydration. She didn't appear to be dehydrated, and that doesn't get fixed in 90 minutes. So I can tell you that it really appears, and if I let a patient with syncope leave my office and not get admitted and get evaluated immediately, that would be malpractice. So there's something going on. I mean, even if you look at the reaction of her assistants when she passed out, it almost seemed to appear something they've been familiar with. Nobody was really shocked that she was buckling and her knees were buckling. So either it's chronic cerebrovascular accidents, strokes that she's had before that are just exacerbated when she gets ill, or it's some type of neurologic condition, or she had some underlying cardiovascular disease, either atrial fibrillation or heart failure that keeps presenting itself. So the reason we are speculating is because, just like Dr. Ben Carson said earlier today, she has a disease of dishonesty. And on the anniversary of Benghazi, she had a health episode that the American people deserve to know what the reality is. And I think any physician worth their salt knows that people don't pass out from pneumonia, but from other things, either cardiovascular or neurological.
Right. So when they say she has pneumonia and she was dehydrated and that's why she passed out, that's not plausible?
The dehydration could make her lightheaded and pass out, but she wouldn't be walking out fine 90 minutes later.
Right.
It doesn't. When people are that sick from pneumonia, they're short of breath, they're wheezing, just look very ill. And she didn't. She looked fine 90 minutes later. So there's some underlying condition that makes her pass out when she gets sick. So she may have had a by the way, pneumonia is only diagnosed by chest X-ray. Her team said that she was diagnosed by a home exam, which is just bronchitis. And they're jumping to the conclusion that it's pneumonia just to make it more plausible, I think.
All right, everybody. So you heard it from a top doctor, a physician. Decide for yourself. I mean, again, they're telling us it's a very, very serious condition, either, severe neurological disorder, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and or a heart condition, some kind of cardiovascular issue or disease. Very, very serious. I've got to go to a quick break. Everybody stay tuned. You're watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television, hard-hitting and in your face. Thank you for your tremendous support. If you haven't already, please subscribe on demand. Support what we do.